Hello and welcome back to another Loving Growth video. Today I'm going to be talking about Charlie Munger's 25 cognitive biases. Now I won't tell you all the 25 because they're easily available online or if you buy this book by Trent Griffin. But I was reading this last night and putting my tabs in and I got stuck on this chapter called Charlie Munger's The Psychology of Human Misjudgment, where he's talking about Charlie Munger's 25 cognitive biases. These are rules of thumb, heuristics, patterns of thought that are common to humans that are often mistakes and lead to mistake after mistake after mistake. So if you're ever failing in your life, in your social life, in your fitness, in your business, in your bad habits, or you've got anything wrong happening, it's most likely because of a heuristic, a rule of thumb, a pattern of thinking in your brain that is a logical fallacy. So we're going to go through a few of them in this video, and I hope you enjoy. So the first one is the reward and punishment super response tendency. So the iron rule of nature is that you get what you reward for. So reward and punishment. So if I told you I'm going to give you $1,000 if you comment below, you'll probably want to comment below because I'm giving you a reward. It's a super response. If I said to you, I'll delete your YouTube account if you don't comment below, then again, you'll want to comment below. So it's that reward and punishment thing of, if you get an extreme reward, you want to do something. If you get a potential punishment, you want to avoid that. So that's the first one. And I won't go into too much detail on each one so I can actually fit more into this video. Number two is the liking, loving tendency. So we tend to see all the good sides in the people that we already like, and we avoid seeing the bad in them. And it's the same with the opposite. If we dislike or hate someone, which is the next one, the disliking, hating tendency, that's number 3. It's the same thing with that, just in the reverse. Now, the best way to overcome this is to seek out wise people who are not afraid to disagree with you. Munger likes to say that in a year in which you do not change your mind on some big idea that is important to you, it's a wasted year. So think about 2019. What big idea did you have in your brain that you changed your mind on, maybe potentially related to liking or loving? So maybe you liked or loved something or some concept or someone, and you avoided seeing the bad in it, right? And you only focused on the positives of it without seeing the full picture. So think about that. The disliking and hating tendency as number 3, he says the skill needed to sort out whether a person is genuine is acquired with experience. The cause of good judgment usually experiences involving bad judgment. So understanding whether people have bad intentions or not, that's really important to be able to figure out. And he says some people are born with good judgment, and this is one of life's great mysteries. So if you're not born with good judgment, then find someone who does have good judgment and trust them more than other people, but try not to get sucked into the liking or loving tendency of focusing on them at the same time. Number 4, and if, by the way, if any of this is confusing, please get this book. It explains it in a lot more detail than I am in this video. I'm just kind of giving an overview of some of these biases. Number 4 in the 25 Charlie Munger's cognitive biases is the doubt avoidance tendency. So we tend to avoid doubt avoidance. He said, most of you, Nassim Taleb, who he said this: most of you will fail, disrespected, impoverished, but we are grateful for the risks you're taking and the sacrifices you're making for the sake of the economic growth of the planet and pulling others out of poverty. You're the source of our anti-fragility. Fragility. Our nation thanks you. So that's Nassim Taleb. So it's very, very key. He says, one example is the people who thought Why investigate an asset manager like Bernie Madoff, who was the person who did a Ponzi scheme, when avoiding doubt is so much easier? So what happened in that situation, instead of looking into it, they just avoided doubt. So, for example, if you want to start a new project and you are afraid it might fail, and that's your doubt in your mind, in order to avoid that doubt, you will not go for that business model. You won't even try it. Or let's say you're working out in the gym, you've started your 2020 fitness challenge, and you're working out every day, and a few weeks into working out, you start wondering, is this really working? I don't look any different in the mirror. My muscles haven't got any bigger. My legs don't look any stronger. Is this really working? And in order to avoid that doubt that you'll get every single workout that you do this, in order to avoid that doubt, you'll stop working out. So that is a doubt avoidance tendency. So that's really, really key. Number 5, the inconsistency avoidance tendency. So Charlie says, the brain of man conserves programming space by being reluctant to change. Okay? So he says, you don't want to ever make broad statements that set your ego or set your identity as a certain way. For example, if you say publicly, I'm a lazy person and I just sit on the couch. Even in private, you're going to want to stick to that identity. Otherwise, you'll be inconsistent with what you've said. So the tendency is to be inconsistency avoidance, okay? So he says, be aware that when you say something in public, you may be blind to disconfirming evidence. So if you believe something and you've stated that you believe that in public to people that you know, friends, family, or anywhere, then you're going to be blind to the evidence that points you in the opposite direction, right? So if you believe that you can get fit even if you eat really, really badly, and you say that to people and you're like, yeah, eat pizzas and burgers, it's fine. And you say that, then even in private, you'll go and you'll eat those foods, and you won't realize that the fatty foods and the extra oils are not helping you with your weight goals. You won't even realize it. You'll be blind to opposing evidence. Even if you read it by an expert, a PhD, he tells you, a doctor tells you, you got to stop eating so many fatty foods and so much oils, you'll be blind to it. You won't even hear it. So that's really, really key. Number 6 is the curiosity tendency. Curiosity, Charlie Munger says, curiosity can provide both fun and wisdom and occasionally trouble. So I won't go too much into that one. But somewhere where this has affected me in my life is, and he says, curiosity can cause an investor to engage in too many activities or a business owner to offer too many products and services, but end up failing by offering none. Okay? He says startup founders can end up repeatedly pivoting their business, i.e. changing their business model or business categories, into oblivion if they overload on curiosity. Now, Charlie also says, I was born innately curious, and if that doesn't work out for you, figure out your own damn system. That's what Charlie says. But so he's hugely curious, and I'm a massively curious person. I love learning always. I love learning new things. I'll buy 6 books and read 5 pages from each instead of buying one and focusing on it. So that's why I underline this section, because as a business owner, I often do try too many things at once. So this is huge. The curiosity tendency. Number 7, Kantian fairness tendency. So I'll skip that one because it wasn't so relevant to me. But number 8, envy and jealousy tendency. Okay. Now the idea, so this is really, really powerful. So Charlie Munger says, a member of a species designed through evolutionary process to want often scarce food is going to be driven strongly towards getting food when it sees food. So think about it, even before language, even before being able to talk to each other through verbal language, we wanted food, right? We've always wanted food. Animals want food, and food has often been scarce. Now, Charlie continues to say, and this is going to occur often, he says, and this is going to occur often and tend to create some conflict when food is seen in the possession of another member of the same species. So he says this is probably the evolutionary origin of the envy and jealousy tendency. which lies so deep in human nature. Now, envy and jealousy lies so deep, according to Charlie Munger, because even before language, when we just wanted food, you would see some other human with food and you'd want the food and you'd be jealous and envious of that human because you want their food, right? So it's the same thing. The idea, and Charlie continued to say, the idea of caring that someone is making money faster than you is one of the deadly sins. Envy is really a stupid sin because it's the only one you can never possibly have any fun at. I love Charlie. He's got a great sense of humor. There's a lot of pain and no fun. Why would you want to get on that trolley? So that's really key. Charlie says that you have very primal emotions that are triggered when humans see someone else with something that they don't have. Okay? So when you see someone with more views than you, more money in their bank account than you, better cars than you, a prettier girl than you, whatever, a sexier body than you, anything, there's always that comparative nature which drives this envy and jealousy. And nowadays, Charlie says, instead of motivating people for emotional fitness, i.e. using that envy, jealousy to make yourselves better, it just makes people unhappy, constantly comparing. So just saying no to envy is the best approach. Okay, now I'll give you a couple more. The reciprocation tendency, really, really powerful. The automatic tendency of humans is to reciprocate favors and disfavors has been long noticed as extreme. So this is from Professor Robert Cialdini. He pointed out that people will help if they owe you for something you did in the past to advance their goals. That's the rule of reciprocity. The reverse is also true if you've done something that negatively affects a person. So this is the idea of karma. In my opinion, karma exists because of the reciprocation tendency. If you're an asshole and you're constantly being a dick to people and you're constantly being mean to other people, then eventually someone is going to get you back, or that the reciprocation tendency is going to set in, and later down the line someone's going to do something to you that's going to screw you up, right? So that's the karma effect, or the reciprocation tendency, and it applies as well in the same thing. Karmic good deeds are rewarded. So if you do good in the world and you're constantly doing good and showing that you can help people and help others, then when you need a favor, when you need something good, karma comes and plays back because those people want to do good things. So this is where I think karma sort of comes from. The next is influence from mere association tendency. This is classic. If you stand next to a celebrity, you get more popular, whatever. And Coca-Cola, he uses the example of Coca-Cola. They are associated with things like the Olympics and good music and happy smiling faces and pretty people, but they're never associated with funerals or negativity or media scares or anything like that. And it's because humans are programmed to be pattern seekers. So if I see happy and dancing and love and family and Coca-Cola, then I associate Coca-Cola with all those things. However, if I see death and war and pain and sadness with Coca-Cola, that would be very, very bad for their brand because you wouldn't want to drink them. Influence works in reverse as well. Think about it. If you're hanging around under a bridge with a bunch of drug dealers, let's say, and someone, you want to meet a potential business client there, it's never going to work out. They come to you, you're standing there with your friends, and you'll be associated with those people. You'll be associated with under the bridge, and they'll never do business with you. However, if you meet this business person in an office surrounded by people who work hard in suits, and maybe there's a local business celebrity or something, the association is completely different. So you can see the association tendency. And I'll finish off with number 11, which is the simple pain-avoiding psychological denial. Really powerful. Charlie Munger says one should recognize reality even when one doesn't like it. He says a projection prepared by anybody who stands to earn a commission or an executive trying to justify a particular course of action will frequently be a lie. Although it's not a deliberate lie in most cases, the man has come to believe it himself. So when a salesperson tells you all the best things about their product and all of the successful customers that they've had and everything, that is a projection from a person who stands to gain a commission or a sale from you. So you have to ask deeper questions. You have to look at what's the average amount of people who do succeed, and it's not like the salesperson is a bad person. I've been caught up with this myself when I try to, when I wanted to sell Azon University, for example, which is our Amazon FBA course. I'll talk about the successful students, but I won't necessarily mention all of the students who have gone through it who haven't done anything with it. And usually the reason is because they haven't done anything with it. So it's not like it's a fair test, but it's also because I am falling into this simple pain avoidance psychological denial, where it's almost like I don't want to admit that people aren't using the content properly and making it work, because that would be painful for me, knowing that I've done this huge business, this great course, and people aren't even using it, even if they paid for it. So in order to avoid that psychological pain, I'll deny it, right? And that's why the salespeople who are only projecting the good things about their product, they're not evil, they're not bad. It's just that's the only thing that they see. But if you want to get over this simple pain avoiding psychological denial, then you will see the big picture. So like Charlie Munger says, it's always about recognizing reality when one doesn't like it. Now, if you go through a course, for example, like our course, and you do the things and you do things, you could still fail, but you could succeed. But it doesn't mean that there is only success and nothing else, right? So it's good to know these things if you want to have success. And I'll stop at number 12. 12 is excessive self-regard, over-optimism, deprival superreaction, social proof, availability misweighing, stress influence, contrast misreaction, use it or lose it, drug misinfluence, senescence misinfluence, authority misinfluence, twaddle tendency, that's a good one, reason respecting tendency, and the Lollapalooza effect. So really check out this book, because it tells you the psychological mistakes that you make and how to avoid them in other people, and how to notice when other people are using them on you, not on purpose, but by accident, because we all do this. Charlie says, even the psychologists with PhDs who was writing about one particular psychological problem, senescence misinfluence, he said even the person who was studying this particular tendency used this tendency by accident when he was releasing his paper. These things affect all humans, no matter whether you know them or not. So even just knowing them doesn't help you. And that's why Charlie says the one thing that he's constantly having to do every single year, the older he gets, it doesn't matter, is to remove ignorance from his mind. If you only remove ignorance, then you'll get better and better in life. So I recommend checking out this book, Tren Griffin, and using the logical fallacies to help push you to change your habits to become more positive, to avoid negative situations and negative people, to understand how your mind is working so you don't get sucked into things you don't want to do, and just use it in your general life so you can think more clearly, be happier, and be a better person overall. So that's it for this video on Love and Growth. It was a little bit longer. Nice book review about Charlie Munger. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care and have an awesome day. Bye-bye.